out there. We on? All right. Thomas Glass, senior interviewer for the SHL Network, here tonight with Marshall McPherson of the Vancouver Nightmare. Marshall, you just suffered a heartbreaking 4-3 overtime loss to the Winnipeg Jets. How you feeling? Well, Thomas, you're disappointed. It's my first SHL playoff game, and I was hoping to come out a bit stronger and have a win in the game, but excuse me. But I think we had a good showing, and the boys scored 3 goals, which it should have been enough for us to win, but it obviously wasn't. The guys are telling me not to be too hard on myself, but I screwed up in overtime when it was you just didn't want to make a mistake, and that sort of thing. But shit happens, right? But Marshall, you being hard on yourself, your heroics in the very last game of the season against the Chiefs, where you posted a shutout. That is what got the Nightmare into the playoffs to begin with. Yeah, Thomas, I know. It's just I want to show the boys that I'm the guy to go to when the game is on the line, and in the playoffs every game matters. And I just feel like I let the guys down tonight by not pulling the wind out of my ass, so to speak. Oh, Marshall, it really isn't that bad. You're only 1 game down in a 7-game series. Yeah, I know. It's just I really wish we had got the win, but the mood in the locker room is great and everything. People are just happy that we made the playoffs, and hopefully next game I can stop a few more pucks, and the guys can still put in more goals than the other team. That's what we've been hoping for all season. It seems that we can't have both a lot of goals and me playing lights out hockey, I suppose. But that's what we're aiming for. Next game against the Jets, the guys to score a ton of goals, and me to put up a wall in the net, and hopefully even the series 1-1. But Marshall, the other thing that's been spoken on before and continues to be spoken on is the fact that you started the season out relatively strong, but you kind of limped into the playoffs, so to speak. Yeah, I figured this was going to come up, but let me ask you a question, Thomas. Take a look at Eddie Fisherman. Take a look at Jason Hornet. We all came into the season, we hit the ground running, so to speak. We just hitting straight from the draft to the starting role. And all 3 of us, we started out relatively strong, posting good numbers, and towards the end of the season, I think, is just where we tailed off, and we just started showing that we were still rookies, and we are still rookies. There's guys that have been in the SHL for a few years now who obviously are more fit than us, and their bodies are more adapted, playing the longer schedule, and putting up with the harder hits and the higher intensity of the game. And honestly, towards the end, it's I started to feel a little tired, I think, because just hadn't started that many games in a row before, and it just was a little bit too much. I began to become dependent on my play, and just depending on myself to get the team where I needed to, and I think I put the expectations way too high for myself. At the start of the season, I was energetic and full of piss and vinegar, if you want to talk about it like that. But around the 20-25 game mark is where I start to realize I'm going to have to slow down, or else if we do make the playoffs, we're not going to get too far. And I really hope that's not what's happening right now. It's, I'm trying to get a good night's sleep, rest my body and everything. Just you feel tired after starting that many games in a row. The guys are out there. They're out there for 20-25 minutes, some of them, and they're going at it full force. I'm out there for 60, and I don't get a break. The pads are heavy and all that, and it's a pretty big workout for an hour a day. And you do training and hit the gym a couple times a week, and eventually you're just tired. You could sleep for 12 hours and get up and still feel exhausted. I'm not feeling that way right now. I'm relatively good, or at least I think I am. But there's not much can be done when a goalie is burnt out, and a lot of teams take advantage of that. I think the Jets took advantage of that tonight. So hopefully I can get a good night's sleep before the end of the day, and hopefully go into the next game fully energetic and able to go ahead and get us a win. We're actually finished the season 5th in save percentage, 5th in goals against average, with a 20-11-8 record. It's highest among rookies for goaltending. What do you think of that? Well, I was looking in the locker room the other day and just figuring stuff out, the stat-wise myself, of course. And out of a possible 78 points, I earned the team 48. So it's not so bad, but I'd like to lower the amount that I didn't get, and of course, put up the amount that I did gain the team. I'm looking forward to next year, training hard in the off season. Hopefully, my stats will be higher than 5th. Well, Marshall, with 10 teams in the league and you being 5th, you're right in the middle of the teams. And some teams had goalies have been in the league before you and posted slightly lower stats. So honestly, you should be proud of your accomplishments and not so hard on yourself. Yeah, I know. It's just I set the bar way too high. Like, if I can't accomplish a goal, I immediately move the bar up another rung, and I'm always striving to be that much better. Well, actually, don't you think that's a bad idea? Because if you get to the point where you're playing the best hockey of your life, you're just still going to be disappointed with it. No, I won't be disappointed if once we keep winning. It's just if I'm doing good and we haven't won the cup, I'm disappointed, of course. Hopefully, like I said, we can make a good push for the playoff or into the playoffs this year and see how far we can go. And if not, train as hard as we can over the summer, and take it to the champs next year. Well, how do you feel about your series with the Jets? What do you think it's going to go to? Well, hopefully next game we can tie it up, and let's see, you get 5 games minimum, I think, right now, if we tie it up. So I'd say it's probably going to go to 6. Either way, I'm not sure. We'll see how it plays out. Well, the other series going on is the Platoon and the Steelhawks and the Stars, with the Platoon getting a first round bye. Who do you think is going to come out of that series? Well, to be quite honest, see what I mean? It's just it's too up in the air right now. The Stars took the first game, and I think that's going to be a big thing down the line. It's going to demoralize the Hawks, and the Stars got to put together a good team, and it's really showing now. They went steady as they go into the postseason. Now I think they're going to open up a can, and they're going to make a drive for the cup. So if it was going to be me, it'd be Stars in 7. So Marshall, if you do get knocked out of the playoffs, what do you see yourself doing? Probably taking a few rounds of golf with Trevor Smith, and yeah, he forgot to book that tee time Saturday. I'll have to get on him about that. But no, it was, I've talked to Smith over the last couple of days, and we've cleared up the beef we had. I'm not sure if that's what you call it, but honestly, in the game that they had against the Hawks, they had to win it, and they didn't. But his goal just was sick. It bounced off the backboards and went right out, and he whacked at it with his stick and right in the net. That takes an extraordinary player to do that, and I respect him for it. I look forward to playing against him and the Dragons next year, and I wish them the best of luck in the off season, and best of luck next year when we face up with them. Oh, well, Marshall, that was pretty respectful of you, considering. Well, you get what you get, and you receive what you receive. Well, on to something that's totally the opposite end of the spectrum. Michael Abdallah. You know, Dr. Wanker told me to avoid conversation about Michael Abdallah at all costs, but I'll tell you right now, that final game of the season, his time was winding down. It could have been his last game with the Vancouver Nightmare. Now, well, how would you put this? I'd say I have his word on something that if the Nightmare happened to win the Cup, he would immediately resign with the team. But as for now, his decision to resign or test free agency, of course, is right up in the air. But he said if we win the Cup, he will definitely resign. Well, Deezy, looks like you might be in for another season of ankle slashing if things go as well as planned. Okay, I'm going to just move off this topic while you're still in the right state of mind and not threatening to beat the shit out of anybody. How have your sessions with Dr. Wanker been going so far? Oh, to be honest, Wanker's a jerk-off. Simply put. Okay, your anger issues seem to be getting better. You only slashed two people in the last game instead of the usual 4 or 5. The skater came into your crease and you whacked him in the face with your stick. Yeah, you stay the fuck out of my crease and I'll orange you. Simple as that. Everybody on the ice knows that, including Michael Abdallah. Yeah, even though we won, who gives a shit? Stay out of my fucking crease. So the last question, Rush, before we head off is, will we see the same clutch goaltending as we've seen with the Prince George Firebirds when you played for them in juniors? Well, you'll just have to see. You'll just have to wait and see, Thomas. I can make no promises, but all I can hope is do your best and bring the Nightmare. All right, Marshall, that's about all the time we have. Best of luck in your game against the Jets tomorrow night. Thanks, Thomas.